Good morning, everyone. I am so pleased to be here. I always like to thank God for the invitation first, but I definitely thank Groundwork for the privilege of a platform. A platform is something that many people never have the privilege of, and particularly many black women don't have the privilege of. So thank you for inviting me. I'd also like to thank my new best friend in my head, Holly Bird, for inspiring me this morning. That was absolutely amazing, and so in keeping with the way I think, because we're talking about innovation and technology and EV and AI and all of these really wonderful things, but we're talking about the relationship of all these things to people, to the globe, to the world, to who are we? Who are we as a community of people who believe in the clean energy economy? Coming to places like this for me it's like coming to a house of worship almost, because we are the believers. We are the true blue, the dyed in the wool. We get it. We are the innovators. We know that what we can accomplish is limited only by our imagination and the laws of physics. So we're here, and we're going to make a difference. We are going to change lives. What we need, and what I need everyone to think about, is how intentional we can be, how we can intentionally engage, include everyone into the important conversations that are taking place right now. So I am absolutely awed by the power in this room. So when I'm in a group like this, I'm like, you guys get me. You don't know me, but you get me. You know, you are my tribe. You are an energy person. You and I, we are like this. We are in the right place at the right time. And we will continue to be so. I have to give Groundwork credit, though, for opening this important conference with one of the sexiest topics on the stage of clean energy efficiency. How amazing is that? So everyone knows that energy efficiency is like the baby sister of the clean energy economy. No one really wants to talk about it because it is absolutely boring. But you can't leave home without it, and you really can't be successful without thinking about energy efficiency's place in the clean energy economy. Or as I like to call it, I like to use Governor Snyder's phrase, which is energy waste reduction. But among the group of tree-hugging nerds, it is probably one of the most boring things that you'll talk about, even though you guys are going to talk about some really boring things, so maybe I'm wrong. But energy efficiency is kind of like an oh, and by the way, while we're talking about all those sexy things, and we're like, yeah, we got to remember to include energy efficiency. Well, energy efficiency isn't just a thing. It's not just a thing. Energy efficiency really is everything. It is everything. When you think about the fact, and we may differ in the numbers, but the fact that as much as 60% of the energy used in this country is used by buildings, is used on the built environment, and as much as 30% of that is wasted. Absorb that, you all, the amount that we waste. It is a big thing. At its best and its highest, everyone in this room knows that energy efficiency or energy waste reduction actually changes lives. It makes a difference every day. At its best, it builds communities. At its best, true energy efficiency creates jobs. I have a company that had revenues of $28 million in 2017, and we just hired our 100th employee. My entire company is based on energy waste reduction. We were created out of the legislation that Jennifer Granholm passed in 2008. And there are thousands of jobs in the state of Michigan that are based on nothing but the foundational the foundational group of what energy efficiency is. So I just need a little more respect for energy efficiency. So while you all are researching and designing and financing and marketing and disrupting with all of your innovations, everything you do works better with energy efficiency. You can build faster, better, and smarter if we're using the energy wisely. So energy efficiency makes everything better, and it minimizes the impacts of everything that is, everything that's good, everything that's bad. It minimizes the impacts. So what happens in the absence of energy efficiency? Everything costs more. Right now, we're revitalizing cities all over the state of Michigan, and we're all excited about the revitalization. The problem is we're beautifying much of Michigan. We're putting drywall in buildings. We're replacing windows. We're doing things that are going to make the buildings look so much better, that are going to make them burdensome operationally long term. A lot of this revitalization is being done in a way that is it's aesthetic, and people are going to suffer because of it. People are going to suffer because we don't make a big enough deal about how important energy efficiency or energy waste reduction is. There's a concept that I like to talk about, and it's called the energy burden or energy poverty. If you look at many, many families in the state of Michigan and in this country, if you add the cost of what I call, most people call them utilities. I call them necessities: electricity, water, gas, and transportation fuels, because they are necessities of life. If you're operating a family, if you're surviving in this country, excuse me, electricity, water, gas, and transportation fuels. If you just get the number in your head of what that burden is on you monthly and attribute that to a low-income family or a vulnerable family, it is unbearable. It makes life harder because you have that burden of electricity, water, and gas. If you could cut that number by 20%, by 40%, depending on how minimal, how insufficient the infrastructure that this family lives in, by 50%, you are changing lives. You're creating opportunities. You're changing economies. You're creating communities. You're giving people the opportunity to thrive and not survive. Many times when we start talking about vulnerable and low-income families, people immediately think about Detroit, Pontiac, and Flint. But these are things that are factors all over the state. I'm talking about families from Flat Rock to Pictured Rocks, from Madison Heights to Munising. The issues are the same, and we have to embrace it. So I'm going to charge you all with trying to help me help you. Help me make energy efficiency, energy waste reduction, the sexy thing that we all know it is if we really sit down and think about it. And I don't mean go get a room sexy. I just mean cool. I get it. I want to be a part of that. Let's do this thing. Let's really make a difference with some low-hanging fruit. My company is based in the city of Detroit. And what's cool about the clean energy economy and energy efficiency in particular is that the work we do affects the people who are right there. We have a corporate commitment. By 2020, we want 70%, and when we say we, y'all know I mean I, right? We have a corporate commitment for 70% of our team members to be Detroiters. Right now, we trend about 56%. And I'm doing that to make a point, because the lore is that certain communities can't do certain things. The good thing about energy efficiency is everything. It affects everything. So everything that you do on a daily basis, you do in energy efficiency. You just do it cleaner, you do it better, you do it faster, you do it smarter. We hire everything from certified energy managers, Ben DeWicki, who handles I'm so proud of Ben. Ben is a 29-year-old guy from Grosse Pointe. So we have a reputation of being a very successful, well-respected black company, but Ben heads my community division. So when people call this black company and wants a representative from Carla's company in Detroit to come and do a presentation or really engage with the community, I send Ben DeWicki from Grosse Pointe. Isn't that cute? I just think that's so cute. And the interesting thing is, y'all know I resisted it, right? You know I resisted it because one of the things that's important to me is to make a point that energy efficiency, energy waste reduction, the clean energy economy belongs to everyone, and it should be totally, totally inclusive. So I hesitated. As good as Ben is, I have to admit I hesitated in making him my director of my community efforts in the city of Detroit. But hey, he's going to ask me for a raise after this, but when you're good, so Ben is it. I'm very proud of him. But energy efficiency and the clean energy economy, we kind of have an identity problem. And I want to talk about that. Let's start with the vocabulary. Energy efficiency. Efficiency is boring. Efficiency means doing more, doing it a little better. We're doing okay, but we can tweak it a little bit and be better. We can be more efficient. Well, that's factually inaccurate. When you think about the statistics that we talked about earlier, it doesn't need a tweak. It needs a major transformation. We need a transformation in the way we think about energy efficiency if we really want to make a difference in this country. The term has been used for so long that when we talk about energy efficiency, everyone's first response is the same. You all know that's true. No one wants to talk about it. We have to change that. So I need you guys to help me think about what the right term is. Do you want to hear my idea? Yeah. Instead of calling it energy efficiency? You guys are really quiet. Do you all want to hear my idea? Yeah. I got nothing. I got nothing. I mean, energy waste reduction is clumsy. It's factual because when you say waste, everyone knows you need to reduce it. No one wants to waste anything. So at least when you say energy waste reduction, everyone agrees with that. So energy waste reduction is clumsy. It does not roll off the tongue, but it's actually more apt than energy efficiency. So I am deputizing you all, some of the smartest people I know, to try to think about what we can call this other than energy efficiency, other than energy waste reduction, to help people to grasp with its true significance, with its sheer importance in the clean energy landscape. The second thing is the clean energy economy. We have a major challenge as an economy. This isn't just an economy. The clean energy economy, for me, it's a movement. It is one of the most important things happening, not just in our country, but around the world. It's important enough for you all to be here before 8 o'clock in the morning to talk about it. It's important enough for you to convene and to have the mayor of Traverse City and some of the most engaged people in the economy here. But it's not important enough for us to risk our social capital and bring people who don't look like what we look like into the conversation. I come to conferences like this all the time. I go to conferences like this in Aspen. I go to conferences like this all over the country. Whether the conference is in Detroit or Dallas, it looks the same. It looks like this. Let me preface it by saying I'm an ultra-sensitive person. God gave me the capacity to naturally love everyone. So I'm so happy you all are here. Mwah. Mwah. I'm so happy you're here. But this room should look different. What I need from you, if we really care about this movement, and every single one of us does, is for you to take the risk and intentionally engage other people in this important economy. That's how you change lives. I want you to risk everything that you are I want you to risk, more than anything else, your comfort and engage people who don't look like you, talk like you, think like you, or act like you, and bring them into rooms like this. A couple of weeks ago, there was a joint meeting, the Michigan EIBC, which is one of the most incredible organizations I know, and they are driving policy and making a difference every day. But they had a joint meeting, and I'm the Michigan president of a group called the American Association of Blacks in Energy. And it was the most diverse group of people who are interested in energy that I've ever been affiliated with. It was a small group, but it was a beautiful thing to see. And when we have a conference like this, we should have engaged citizens, because that's how you have a successful movement. That is how you break ground. That is how you make a difference. That's how you garner attention. That is how you recruit. That is how you raise funds. We need diversity of thought. We're not just talking about ethnic or racial or spatial or economic or gender. We're talking about all of that. And we need every single soldier on this battlefield. You all are the cool kids of the energy economy. You know each other, see each other all the time. I go to different conferences around the state. I see probably a third of the people in this room. Hey, y'all, see you everywhere. So we're comfortable in this space, but it is incumbent upon us, if we want to be successful, to bring other people into this space, to listen to other voices. There's a concept called the 30% rule, and there's a group of, there's a nonprofit group of women, and they are committed to diversifying corporate boardrooms. The reason they're committed is diversity of thought drives profit. Diversity of thought drives profits. High-performing organizations, even high-performing organizations, perform 15% better when they introduce or increase their gender diversity. 15% better just by introducing a meaningful number of people of a different gender. They perform 34% better when they introduce a meaningful percentage of ethnic diversity. So we're not just talking about social equity. We're not just talking about feel good or doing the right thing. We're talking about profits. 30% is the number at which a person stops representing a group when they are in the minority. So if I'm in a group with 10 people and I'm the only black woman in the group, our natural tendency as good people, just our natural tendency, is to identify what I say with my group. And it's interesting because I do it. If I'm in a room with all women and a white man says something, it's like, yeah, of course the white man's gonna say that, right? I mean, that's just how we think. So if I'm in a group with 10 white men, which I usually am, and I say something, the natural tendency is for the white man to say, well, of course, the woman's gonna say that, or the black person is going to say that. Whereas if there are three of us, two things happen. I don't feel obligated to say things that I know no one else is going to say, because oftentimes when I'm in a room with people, then I have to say it or it won't be said. So if there are three of us, there's a better chance that someone else is going to say it. That's number one. But the other thing is, if there are 3 of us out of 10, there's a better chance that when it is said, it is received differently. When it is said, it is received differently. Those two things are so important, and that informs us. It informs the way we move in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our meetings, and in our companies. And diversity is a 21st century imperative. If you want to do better, if you want to make more money, introduce diversity. So I'm deputizing you all again. I need you all. The next time you have a meeting like this, and Dan, thank you so much for reaching out. I don't know how I got the blessing of this honor, number one.
Jamie Scripps and Liesl.
Oh, Liesl. Yeah, I got to pay her later. But I'm going to ask you if you would consider in advance, in order to advance the movement that we care so much about, if you would consider reaching outside of your normal, your organic environments, because we're all busy, but taking the time to intentionally reach outside of your normal organic environment and bringing someone that you know or you know of, bringing them into this very, very important room or other important rooms, in other important rooms where the clean energy economy is being discussed. Bring them along so that we can all do better, and we can do it better. Everything we need to do, we can do better, we can do faster, we can do smarter, and we can do it just as the human community we all want to be, as the stewards of everything that we are and everything that we have. I really appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carla. And we have about 15 to 20 minutes if we want for question and answers. And then after that, flow into a break. But if folks have questions, now's the time to ask Carla.
Yes.
My name is Charles Gould. I work with Michigan State University Extension. I work with farmers across the state on renewable energy and energy conservation. There we go. One of the things that I'm facing is, for example, in the dairy industry, it's forecasted that 30% of our dairies are going to go out of business this year. The corn prices, soybean prices have been at all-time lows. Same with our blueberry crops. So when I go and talk with farmers about energy efficiency, there's simply no cash there. So in your introduction, you were introduced as someone who, went through the valley of death and emerged alive on the other side. So what can you offer someone like me who's working with an industry that's struggling right now, who recognizes that energy efficiency is money in the bank, but yet an industry that's struggling to survive?
The most interesting thing about energy efficiency for me right now is that you're spending the money anyway. So you're not necessarily talking about spending additional money. At its best, energy efficiency can be financed and offset by savings. And if we can get the farmers to understand that, if we can actually bring people in, experts who understand that there are things like there are financing mechanisms that would allow you to finance upgrades and improvements to your equipment, to your processes, without having any upfront capital, then I think that would be a great solution. There are programs in the utility arena that are financed, that are ratepayer funded, and federally funded, where we are actually asked to go to particular industries, like the farming industry, and even in the state of Michigan there are federal programs where people are chartered, tasked with going to Native communities, Native American communities, tribal lands for energy efficiency. So I would say make sure you reach out, and I think some people are probably in this room that could help you, help educate the farmers on how they could actually pay for the things they need to do with savings, as opposed to with new investments. The other thing about energy efficiency or energy waste reduction is that you can make a difference in your bills without even spending money. There are low-cost mechanisms, no-cost, and then there are investment-grade mechanisms. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all. It's a deeper conversation, and you're in the right room to have it. I think I see Mr. Harwood from DTE over there. So, yeah, we can continue the conversation, absolutely.
Yes. So I'm Edie and I'm from Lansing, Michigan, and we're newly doing a climate change plan for the city and wanting to make energy efficiency part of that. So can you give me a quick suggestion, like you were talking about low-hanging fruit and we're looking for some of that, so what's your idea on this one?
So every utility in the state and many utilities across the country have ratepayer funded energy efficiency programs. And they hire companies like mine. We're energy waste reduction implementation contractors to DTE Energy, and we also work with consumers, and we work with the city of Detroit. But there is money out there to finance energy efficiency upgrades for every single customer class, from single family, residential, low income to commercial. So,
Could you come into Lansing and do what you
I can't come into Lansing, but Lansing Board of Water and Light absolutely has funding, and they have contractors. They have an implementation contractor, and you can go onto their website and find out who they are. So the interesting thing about these programs is that we have one of the largest budgets in the program is actually an outreach program. And that's because it's hard for us to let every single person know that these opportunities are out there. Right now, every single ratepayer in the state of Michigan pays based on the fact that you have a meter, an electric and a gas meter. You pay a certain amount of money every month into the fund. That money goes to implementation contract, to the utility to manage it, and then implementation contractors like me to go and look for you to put things into your home and your business to help you save money on energy. It's called an energy optimization surcharge, and it's on every single bill. So if you're not taking advantage of it, then you should. But the hardest thing we do is to try to find people so that we can come into your homes and your businesses and get an appointment and install energy waste reduction, energy conservation measures. So if you're not taking advantage of it, please do. Yes.
So you're talking about refurbishing buildings and creating future operational burdens. And I like the way you put that, right? It's insightful. You mentioned drywall, and that just kind of caught my ignorance. As opposed to what?
Well, drywall is great. Drywall beautifies everything, but as long as there's insulation on your exterior walls behind that drywall. Otherwise, you're going to have a beautiful cold house. And tearing that drywall out to put insulation, never going to happen. My mother, once she put that drywall up, there is no way. You could not convince her under any circumstances that insulation. So air sealing and insulation and lighting. I mean, it's so easy. Air sealing, insulation, lighting. Plug the holes, insulate, and replace those lights with LEDs. Those are no-brainers, the easiest things you can do, especially insulating those exterior walls and separating your conditioned spaces, keeping that building envelope. And one of the things that is a problem is that we've come to believe, based on commercials, that replacing your windows is number one. So we really don't know the easiest things. So the low-hanging fruit is behavior. Remember when your dad used to say, are you trying to air condition all of outdoors? Why is the refrigerator door open? You know, don't turn every light on in the house. Behavior is the easiest. I mean, those things are all true. But after that, it's air sealing, insulation, and lighting. And there are mechanisms right now to help you pay for those through the ratepayer financed programs that the utilities manage. I got a call on you, right?
So you talked about the valley death in 2008 and coming back out of it. Do you foresee more dips coming, or is this market mature and growing enough? Like, where do you see this in 5 to 10 years? And are you looking at 250 employees, or is it still just rolling with that?
So we hit our 101st employee this month, and we have a challenge keeping up with all the opportunity that's there. And the opportunities are are that because of the revitalization, because of everything that's going on in the city, energy is a big deal. Everyone needs more of it. They're upgrading systems or replacing systems and helping people make the right decisions about what type of system. We're moving to a time where coming into a building and turning your utility energy on is just not even going to be like the norm anymore. You know that we already have and are going to have so many more options. But the other thing, though, is that employment. You know, this is the lowest level of unemployment ever. So finding the right people to come into this industry. The people who are unemployed right now are people who are basically unengaged. So we're trying to serve hard to employ and difficult to engage people, and that's not going to change. So we have to address populations like returning citizens. We have to address people who have just become frustrated with the job market over time. We have to bring people into this wonderful, growing, lucrative industry who can't see themselves in this industry. So I spend a lot of time recruiting, trying to get that 100. We probably have 10 jobs that we're recruiting for right now. And we have business in other states that we just don't have the capacity to expand to. So I do envision us being a bigger company, but I also envision us being able to support people and jobs and mentor other companies. The wonderful thing about the energy industry right now is that there really is space for everyone. No one should be threatened. If you're doing something in the energy industry, there's so many things that are being done, but there's so many more things that need to be done, that have to be done, that people are willing to pay for to be done. So it's just an incredible environment. Hey.
Hearing all the questions here about how to get started, how to finance when there isn't any money. A perfect example where I've seen you and your company do your magic is in the Shady Park Park in Detroit. And I thought maybe it might be beneficial to share some details of exactly how that worked.
I will.
There's probably no community that I can think of where I would have walked in and said, yeah, there's a lot of money here to do energy efficiency.
That is a really interesting case. So there's a vulnerable community in the city of Detroit, and it was called O'Shea Park. There was a abandoned community center that for the last 25 years, the residents of the community were hoping that the community center would be recommissioned. Well, the city of Detroit made an agreement with DTE Energy to sell it to DTE or lease it, long-term lease, and allow DTE to put a 2-megawatt solar field in that space that really wasn't being used. And I heard it and I was like, yes! DTE's thinking, yes! The city's thinking, yes, this is wonderful for everyone, except the people in that community who had total disinvestment over the last 30 years. So as far as they're concerned, you're taking our hopes and our dreams, and you're going to put something that's not even going to benefit us in this community. So Ben and I basically chased the solar panel project into a big mess where the community was literally fighting the installation of the solar array. And they were fighting it because it felt like a land grab. It felt like a loss of power. It felt like you guys are stepping on us again. Things are getting better, and instead of us getting our community center and our basketball hoops and a place for our kids to play, you're going to put a solar field here. So we teamed with DTE and the city and started attending community meetings and talking about the opportunity in energy efficiency, the opportunity in the energy industry. We talked about the fact that this solar array was actually going to draw investment into the community and that the community was going to be better off. And when we say that was a really tumultuous time, there was one community meeting that the SWAT team was actually called because the people were so angry about what was happening. Fast forward to today, because of the work that was done, and a lot of work. And this really, I'm glad you asked me about this, David, because it really stresses the need for inclusion. It really stresses the need for inclusion. At this point, DTE and a bunch of nonprofits invested in that very community to make sure that they are going to be better off. They're opening a beautiful park with a viewing stand for the community, educational programs. When the solar panel array was actually installed, we recruited people from the community to participate in the installation. So I'm still trying to get the number from the union, but there were people who now have solar careers because of the installation of that array. So even though the work was done on the back end and was done by necessity to facilitate everyone's success, think about how well that project could have gone if the community had been involved, in the thinking behind it, in really what is the best way, how could we get this done to everyone's benefit. But that's an incredible example. We have people who are in and interested in the energy industry and better off because of that project. And it almost didn't happen.
Well, I guess the thought that I had, as you run into people that maybe just don't see the value in, the ceiling and all the things your list, your priority list. Or as he was mentioning, the farmers who don't see cash in EE. I don't want to make that is your cash, it's going out. Or it's almost like wait, cash not coming in or cash going out. It's the same difference, it's still going out. But I think in terms of quote-unquote marketing, when you come into a community and say, if you just insulate, if you do these things, it's money that's going to stay in your pocket. I don't know why that's a hard concept.
It is hard. It's hard.
And everyone else. Is some of the marketing, do we walk in and say, here's money, I'm going to give you some money?
So
In a voucher or whatever,
Right.
say, if you spend it this way, the money's going to come back around into your pocket. So I'm going to give you money. Most people like that idea. If you walk in and say, I'm going to give you money. So I don't know, is part of it just the way, because you said the community pushed back against the solar project because it didn't get community buy-in because it wasn't marketed to them as what it's going to mean to them first. And the same thing, if we're trying to make this sexy, giving people money is pretty sexy.
it's extremely sexy, and I'm open to anyone who wants to give me money because it absolutely is sexy, okay? I'm really oversimplifying this because there are probably 25 different implementation contractors, if not more, across the state, operating different programs. We're residential, so we lead with what we call direct installs. All you have to do is let us in your house, and we will go into your house for free, install a package of up to 20 LED light bulbs, low-flow shower heads, faucet aerators, pipe wrap, and a Wi-Fi learning thermostat for free. So that's not leading with cash, but it is leading with a $400 package of things that are going to make a difference for you. Mary Templeton over there is Michigan Saves, and she has a whole different set of incentives that are available for businesses and commercial retailers and entities. So marketing it really is an issue because we are when you see the commercials where DTE says, call us and we'll come to your home, it's Walker Miller Energy Services, it's Franklin Energy Services, it's DMVGL. So there is some overarching marketing, but we aren't doing the best job and making the best use of the money that's out there with marketing. And we see it every day because it is so difficult for us to get uptake for the programs. It really has been a struggle. But there is money. You can't lead with money. You just have to have the right program for the right customer, the right building.
Jim Howell, that's Howard. Something that I think is sexy that we don't talk about in energy is smart, dynamic energy load. And I think that's obviously going to be the future. How is energy efficiency in Michigan addressing the benefits of having a connected home and business. And why I say that, I'm all on the wholesale energy side, so we have projects all over the country. And an area in SPP, the Southwest Power Pool, energy is free in certain hours. Or we're actually shut down because there's not enough load. So an easy way to save money and make everything work and reduce the reserve margins would be dynamic load and connected home. So curious if you guys are working on that.
We are not working on that. So the dynamic home, there are elements that are already there because most of the utilities have put smart meters in homes. So the smart meters have the opportunity for a two-way communication. But the digital divide is so relevant in our communities that there are a lot of homes that we can't even put a smart thermostat in because they don't have access to Wi-Fi, so it won't be used. One of the things that I rail against all the time is making things that are fairly complicated sound like really, really easy. And once you dig into them, they aren't as easy as you think. So dynamic pricing, not only is it not as easy when you get to, obviously it's not even applicable right this minute for residential, and it is for other entities. But education is key. And until people believe that there is a real case to be made for energy savings through either or for the offset of spending, we're going to struggle. We are going to struggle. We absolutely have to use forums like these, and not just while we're here in the church, but when we go outside of this room. We absolutely have to find a way to let people know that may not feel like you're saving money. It may not look like you're saving money, but if you do this, you will save money. There is no scenario under which my people go into your home and when they come out, you are better off than you were before they went in. 100% of the time, you are. Your consumption will go down if your use and your infrastructure is the same. So we just have to continuously make that case. And the other thing is that we fight for attention. It's easier for people to believe that if they buy windows, they're going to save money than to believe that if they put in insulation or if I come into your home, you're going to save money. It's just easier. There are little old ladies. I had a woman call maybe two and a half years ago and said, I saw the news and I need a wind turbine on my house. Will you come and install one? And the time it took us to convince her that she needed air sealing, insulation, and free light bulbs, you wouldn't believe it. She was convinced that she needed a wind turbine. We convince people every day that they need to replace their windows. Maybe you do, but I guarantee you need air sealing, insulation, and replace your lighting. So we're vying for people's attention, and that's something that we have to crack. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.